Time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace, former Ottawa Senator Jason York, and Shawn Simpson.
Good afternoon, everybody. Brent Wallace and Jason York. Shawn Simpson be along shortly. Yorkie, I was just finishing up using my abacus to add up all the goals from last night.
That's insane, eh? It's like, was there a full moon or something yesterday? Well, it was an afternoon game, so there wasn't. It was just bizarre. Just like those games happen. I've been in a few of those, Wally, and it's just when you think the goals are over, it's not even close to being over. It was so crazy.
Hang on. You can have that conversation. I will let you have story time with David Perron, who's going to join us because he can talk about playing in those games. I did look up his game by games to see how many crazy games he has played in. Let's chat with him now as we bring in our regular visitor to the show, David Perron. Sir.
Hey, guys.
Did you, by any chance, did you rewatch last night's game?
I rewatched my shifts, trying to see where you can improve on little details, especially early in the season, trying to get acclimated to a new group. I only played a couple preseason games, kind of ran into that little injury thing. And from the Sudbury game to the first game, it was over a week. So I would say that my first two were a little rusty, and I felt like a lot more comfortable yesterday. I felt like I had more jump. I was reading plays better. I think the offensive touch will come. And speaking of the game, I'm not sure this is the type of games that coaches love, or I guess like the good thing is we did deserve to win. You look at the shot volume that we had. It seemed like we carried the play for the most part. Our power play was solid. A lot of guys produce. Usually when your fourth line get one goal, it's a massive boost. We got two. So all things kind of pointing towards us having success. And again, like I'm sure Greener, like we're going to look at things, different areas, whatever. But at the end of the day, these are not games that he wants to coach all the time. But we got 2 points, and really that's what matters. It's every single point are big, and we got to keep collecting them.
Those games, DP, because there's no flow. Like it's like if you're not on the PK and you run into a bunch of penalties, you could be sitting on the bench for 8-10 minutes straight of time, and all of a sudden you're cold. And I always find those really, really tough. Especially
I don't enjoy them, to be honest. I know some guys do. I mean, I'm sure if you're on the positive side as far as like you get production, things like that, you get your legs going. But I thought Greener did a really good job. That's one thing I talking to earlier in the day and on the phone, and I was like, and it was kind of something that took away from my ice time, but I thought it was very smart by him. He at different times in the game, let's say he put Cuzzy in my spot for a couple of shifts. He put Cuzzy in there, maybe Gregor's spot at time, maybe Batherson instead of Giroux in one shift. And obviously, as a player, you want to play as much as possible. I just thought still that it was a very smart decision. You keep more guys involved, more guys in the game, so that maybe you need that spark from a guy like Cuzzy. Except if he's playing 4 or 5 minutes, you may not get it. So I thought it was a very good decision. Again, a couple of those shifts, it was on my part, but that's what it's all about. You want to be a team player, and I just thought that Greener did a really good job. When the flow's not there, he tried to keep everyone involved as much as possible. And I'm sure he would have liked to keep even a guy like Max scores 2 goals, probably had very limited ice time even after his 2 goals. And that's not something you want to do as a coach, but maybe the game just called for that. And so tough game in general, just flow-wise, you're right.
5 minutes. Five. He played 5 minutes. That's a pretty good 5 minutes. 2 snipes.
A fight.
That's one of the best 5 minutes ice times I've seen.
Speaking of that, like that was amazing. Wasn't even a second thought. Something happened like that. Have a guy jump in right away and do what he did. Pretty tough customer on the other side. That obviously goes a long way with guys in the locker room, and I'm sure with the fan base as well. It's incredible. A lot of courage there.
I know Shane Pinto comes out with Zach McEwen in the early before practice starts. He works with Alfie a bit on his shot. Now I know that clapper was kind of a turn, spin, and just fire it, and it's rolling,
Yeah.
and so it's not like he purposely did it that way. But he may have, and I don't know if you've seen it, the hardest shot or release on the team.
Yeah, he's got a really hard shot. I noticed that in practice. His wrists are low blockers. He catches the goalies a lot of times. It's impressive. What's interesting with his turnaround slapper, like you said, you see the D on the other side. He kind of waves his stick away because he sees it's a knuckle puck. It's not laying flat. And usually you don't want to tip those because that's when you might get your goalie in trouble. And obviously with that kind of distance, with no screen, anything, you don't expect that one to go in. But again, just overpowered the goalie. Caught him by surprise, really, with his power and everything. And no, really impressive goal. Kind of like, again, I think we were playing some solid hockey. I didn't feel like we were ever like not playing good. We just kind of got in a hole there, and that goal kind of kept us going or gave us more juice. Maybe got the building going even more too.
Yeah, I went back over the game. You guys didn't give up a lot 5-on-5. Like when you go through the whole game, like chances were probably single digits 5-on-5. It was just a special teams game. I think they got 3 or at least 3 on the power play, and the early goals too. You're chasing the game, so all in all, DP, I thought you guys, people are saying 7 goals, but not a lot of chances against.
Yeah, well, you look at the shots, like, and then how many block shots they had. Like that's 41 plus 22. That's a lot of attempts, and others that missed the net. So usually when you almost like 2-1 on them total, like on shot attempts, it kind of shows the game a little bit. And at the same time, I think for the coaching staff, there's still probably a lot of clips, detailed clips. They can go in there, look at things. What can we do a lot better? And it's great. It's a good time of the year for teaching, for learning. And I'm sure like those games, if they happen down the road, March and April, that's not as great because I feel like teams that are making the playoffs, they don't get in them too often. And certainly you got to find a way like once in a while to get on the right side of it. But you got to play a composed game, a mature game, and not get away from it at all ever.
Last question I have for you on the game, then we'll move on, is is there concern around, if we look at the Montreal game and then the way you started this game, perhaps fans, the emotional roller coaster this team has put fans on over 3 games is extremely high. You go from the big win to the Montreal game, then you start this game, and then you win this game. So what would your assessment be of the first 3 games? Yeah,
just a little bit of everything. And obviously you want to create some kind of consistency, talking to different people in the room, like even analytics stuff from Montreal. Some of the stuff showed that we could have had a chance to win. I didn't think we played good enough, but it's still like sometimes the stats showed a different thing. So I would say a pretty solid first game, something that we want to, that I think that's, if there's one of the 3 games we want to go back to and play every single time, that's the one, against a pretty good team. Like I heard you say you went back also in my career and you looked at how many games I played like that. I'm curious to what you got on there, because I don't remember too many. Like maybe, hopefully not more than 10.
I don't think it's around 10. Like the most goals you played in one game that I could find is 11. It was a 6-5 OT loss in Montreal in 2013, or in Toronto, sorry, in 2013. Okay. Then there was an 8-2 game, a win for you guys. And then there's like 7-3 games going both ways. There's not a lot, but 11 is the most goals you've been in one game.
Yeah, well, that's I feel like with the Blues, a lot of those games, we're trying to win the game 2-1, 3-2. Ken Hitchcock may have had a heart attack going through that game as a coach last night or yesterday afternoon. So hopefully not too often moving forward.
What would Hitch say to you guys on the bench in a game like that?
What wouldn't he say?
I'm not going to try and mimic his voice, but for anyone that knows Hitch, his voice is priceless.
Give it a try, DP.
No,
I love a good Hitch.
Maybe down the road. Maybe I'll get there down the road. But he was so hard on me and other guys. But I love, like, it's a lot of love for coming from me, because I think he made me a lot better as a player. He made me more responsible. and wanting to play the right way, being hard to play against, and doing those details that don't really show up much on a score sheet. But whether it's driving the net, being around the crease, anything really, not turning pucks over at any moment. And Hitch would be just scream barking like every single shift, trying to wake up the guys, asking if we're serious. And like he would just pull anything that he'd be coming in the room probably the first period or second period was over. And like he was always funny. The way the room was built in St. Louis, you had to go for a while. I had to go through the room to go grab a coffee or power bars. I don't know exactly which one it was. And from where I was sitting, I could see when he would go in the room, he would go walk through, he would come back and kind of go back to his office. And I could kind of have a glance on my right side, and there was a garbage there. And every single time he'd walk with a coffee, he'd walk back and he'd dump his coffee in the garbage. So I knew when he was doing that, he was getting the temperature in the room. He wasn't going for a coffee or a power bar. He was walking through, kind of trying to listen what was going on, the energy in the room. And if he didn't hear what he wanted to hear, he was going to make sure we know about it. And he had a really good pulse for that. And obviously there was not a single second that you could let off with him. So he was really hard. But I got thousands of Hitch stories, I think.
DP, did you ever hear the story about Mike Keane in Dallas? When Hitch was in Dallas, Mike Keane, I guess.
Oh, probably. Go ahead.
Mike Keane went out before practice and dressed up as Hitch. He put the coach's suit on, the whistle on, and put a couple pillows in to make himself bigger. And he went on and he was using the Hitch voice, and he started running practice pretending he was Hitch. It was a legendary story.
Oh, I heard one time Holly left practice middle of it too, and was on the golf course like 30 minutes later or something. But that's what's great about Hitch. Like he was so hard on you, but he was great at taking it too. Like you could yell at him back on the bench, and he was like the first time I did it, I remember sitting back on the bench. I'm like, oh boy, my night's over. Like there it is. I'm gonna be the grocery stick in the middle of the bench. Like, and then he's like, Barry, I'm like, what? Like, you're up. I'm like, what? Like you're right back. He loved the emotion. He wanted to spark a little more out of the guys at different times. And that's just not me. Like there was a whole bench at times. I think you had to stand up for yourself at times too. Like it was a lot. And again, this isn't anything negative. Like I'm glad I got to play for him. And even with Craig Berube after, like he was a lot similar. He was barking at guys. It was tough, but you could like push back at times. You have to stand up for yourself at times.
Have you been in perhaps an FU match on the bench with a coach?
I have. I have. But obviously not everyone wants it. Like I would say that our coach in Detroit last year is more a guy who wants a calm bench. He wants emotions at all time. If you have something to say, you go to him, and you might have that meeting in closed doors. But others, it's kind of like, hey, bring the emotion when it's ready, and I'll bring it back to you. Trust me. And again, it wasn't just me. Like I think as a player, you have to have the pulse, and obviously you can't be doing that as a young guy. You get to a certain point, maybe after 8, 9, 10 years, that maybe you feel a little more comfortable doing it, or maybe it's a time where you do have to step up and kind of defend yourself. Like coaches see things on the bench, and I mean, I've had like Hitch, other guys said like usually the best coaches are playing. Obviously, they're the players. They see the game, they play the game, they see it. So at times, like a coach will see something, doesn't mean that he saw all the reasons why you made a decision. So it's a partnership in the end. You have to react according to who the person is and trying to get a good feel on their personality. And same with me. I always respond well to someone who pushed me hard, and doesn't mean it's easy to take. Doesn't mean it comes off right the first day or the first hour, but it gets there eventually.
I have a couple of questions before we let you go. Just I want to bring it back to Ottawa for a sec. One is, has anybody on the team that you've been around so far surprised you that perhaps you didn't know about, I'll say skill set wise?
Skill set wise, I would say Sandy, like he's newer to the league, like third year for him, fourth year for Sandy.
I think it's technically fourth, but third full year.
Kind
Yeah.
of a
So, I mean, we knew, I knew he was good. He's just like, he's a beast. He does everything right. His preparation, the way he skates out of trouble, even when tired, quite honestly. Like, a lot of guys are fast, but after 15 seconds of skating or a shift, they kind of lose that extra step. He doesn't. It's impressive. He's smart jumping on in the play. And what's exciting, I think, for SENS fan in our group is he's only going to keep getting better for a long time here. He's still very young. I could probably go through a lineup and kind of find something for every guy. Like even a guy like Greig, I know all the things that maybe have been said or whatever. I don't know if that's the right word, but his goal yesterday wins a face-off battle, but gets it back, stays inside, gets the puck back, shoots it really quickly, winning battles all over the ice. I've been really impressed with his compete, and I know it's something he wanted to work on, and he's really good at it.
Yeah. It's funny. You mentioned Sanderson there. Just every time I watch him, DP, he does things that people don't even talk about. Like not most D when they win a battle down low, they'll get out and they'll rim it. He wins the battle, takes the puck, breaks it out. Like there's for my money, I don't know if there's another young D that has all the things that he does in the league, because he defends, he skates, he passes. Now he's on the power play. Like it's just so many skills in his toolbox.
Yeah, he's incredibly smart. He wants to be successful, and I mean it's crazy. Like I see him talk to him a lot about his preparation too, and when guys are dialed like that, and I can see many steps forward that he's going to take. He's going to improve on every aspect of his game, and it's super exciting for SENS fans.
Okay, so is there, last couple of questions, is there a winning goal song picked yet for the team?
No, we had like an old school maybe celebration after first one in the room, but this isn't like a solid pick. I think these are things that throughout the course of the year, at different times, that we're gonna have I don't know, team parties, Halloween parties, Super Bowl, maybe a rookie party, and some, like, I don't know, there's like many stories that happen throughout the course of a season. Yeah, like with Yorkie, I'm sure you can have things that you remember just from your career, and these moments create maybe a player of the game award, maybe it creates a winning song, because this is something you heard, whether it was in the bar the night before or in a restaurant or maybe on TV through a football game, whatever it is. It creates that moment that the next day you put it on and it sticks, and hopefully we gain momentum. We get the team kind of tracking in the right direction. Next thing you know, it's super popular. Everyone gets involved with it. So usually, like, I like when it kind of happens organically like that, and not something you force on anything.
It's funny you say celebration, because we were listening outside the locker room, and I'm pretty sure it's Kyle Bukowskis and I were like, "Are they playing Celebration?"
Cool.
And we didn't think that you guys were playing. We thought maybe it was
for sure Brady. His dad would only put old school songs, and it might have been the same one. I'm not too sure, but usually the winning songs are great when they're kind of old school like that. I feel like there's a lot of good songs like the hip hop, rap, all that. It's great. I listen to it too. It's just winning songs. It's nice when it's kind of unique.
Who's got the controls on the tunes right now, DP?
Shabby a lot before the game. I've noticed. I'm impressed with how much he's involved in the room, and obviously I knew he was a leader. He's wearing an A, but he talks a lot. He gets guys involved. He makes everyone feel comfortable. I'm impressed with that too. Like sometimes when a locker room hasn't won or have had some tough season, you come in, it's quiet at all moment. You're like almost wondering, like, wait, are we in a library kind of thing? But it's not the case at all here. There's a lot of guys that have the energy and want to bring it. I mean, I'm going to get involved with that too. I'm a guy that likes to be in all the conversation and talk a lot. But it's been a lot of fun so far.
Do you notice, by the way, coming out to Hell's Bells, are you an old school AC/DC guy?
Well, I like it. I don't notice. It's funny when I start the game, like looking in the stands or music, things happening in the Jumbotron. At times I will notice it, but most times not. Like it's crazy. over the years, like friends, family, hey, I got tickets in that corner, blah, blah. After the game, I was like, oh, I didn't even think of looking there. If anything, if I did, like maybe like when I was younger, you look around, whatever, it kind of took me away from my game instead of just focusing on what's a task and being focused on the next shift. I know it sounds like cliche, but it's real for me.
Last one is is there any kind of post-game player of the game stuff yet?
No, not yet. Same thing as the winning song. We briefly touched after the first win. Like nothing crazy. Like it's not like we have a big team meeting about it. Hey guys, we got to talk about this. These conversations are ongoing, and might have one tomorrow morning. If we might see a crazy celebration on TV with football or something else. We have some ideas that we're gonna keep it here for now, but eventually it's gonna get there.
What's the strangest one you've had?
We had like a weenie of the game award, like a hot dog in St. Louis. Like there was like a hat and there was a hot dog, and I can't remember the reason why it was. That was like in 2010, 2011. You can look up player of the game, St. Louis Blues in those years, and you might find a few guys wearing. We had to wear it during interviews back in the day too, when the media came in the room. So not the greatest look. And with Twitter was just starting, so those pictures are floating around somewhere.
Oh, we gotta find them.
Yeah,
get on it, Wally.
Thank you, DP. We appreciate it as you get ready to face New Jersey. And by the way, Sanderson has played 3 seasons. This is his 3rd season. So I know all the people yelling at me in the chat that I said. I just wanted to correct that. Anyway, we'll chat next week if we have time, sir. You got the road trip next week, so maybe we'll have to see.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we'll talk to you next week probably. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, man.
Right. Yeah, bye.
There goes David Perron. Our weekly segment.
Tell you something funny before Simmer jumps on with us. So you talk about what you remember when you're done playing. When I played in Nashville, Wally, remember American Idol? When were you an American Idol guy?
Not really. I didn't mind the first couple of seasons because Simon was such an ass.
He was good, right?
Yeah.
So do you remember the guy that came on, William Hung?
Yeah.
That sang the She Bang song?
Yeah, so, I'm not. Don't get me. You're not going to get me to sing it.
So Andreas Johansson, who played in Ottawa, really funny guy. He comes in the next day, we win, and he throws on William Hung She Bang. So we went on like a 5, 6, 7 game winning streak, and after every game, I just remember William Hung She Bang, and it was such a terrible song. Well, that's what happens. You get on something that brings the team together. And it's fun. Those oh boy, just stupid fun. Shit,
you know what's going to happen? Eric is going to make a video of you as William Hung. I can tell now. I will look for it to come out on social media.
You're not an Office guy, are you?
No.
You didn't want one of the best scenes in the Office is there's a William Hung license plate, and the guy comes up to him, and his license plate is supposed to say "well hung." He's like one of those guys, and then he goes, "Are you a William Hung fan?" You had to be there.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm. By the way, in Nashville, did you have the brass boot? Was it there at the time you played there?
Don't think so. Okay. Just William Hung.
Okay. Before we bring in Simmer, let's take care of some business. Let's start with you, my good friend.
Okay. Well, once again, thanks to our good friends at BEI, Bonisher Excavating Incorporated. BEI can help you with your driveway paving, aggregate and topsoil sales as well. Plus, they also do equipment rentals. You can call them at 613-432-1120 for all your landscape needs, or at bonisherexcavating.com. BEI is helping to shape the Ottawa Valley, and please remember to slow down in construction zones.
And if you run a restaurant, you're too busy for this ad. You're thinking about how to get more orders flowing and new locations opening. You need to get more customers and keep them coming back. So really, you're already thinking about Square, because Square Restaurant Tech helps more than 400,000 restaurants do all those things and simply more. When you're thinking about your restaurant, think bigger and think Square. Go to square.com/ca/en/campaign/big-in-RST to see why Square is big in restaurants. You can see the full URL in our show description. All right, here now to join us. The trio is back together. Shawn Simpson. Welcome, sir.
Let's go.
Afternoon, boys.
Emma, how are you?
How was a long weekend? I'm excellent. How you guys doing?
I am shocked that you just didn't start right in on the goaltending. I'm shocked.
No, after listening to DP talk, I thought you were going to go into the Glorious story. I mean, that was basically they were in last place. They were in Philadelphia night before. Probably went on a little bender, and I like what he said. Don't plan that. And a couple of years ago, when the Sens brought out that chain thing, I can't remember who I was working with at the time. I just said, that is not going to last. You could see the look on the players' faces with the big medallion. It was like, this is ridiculous. And I think they switched over to the little goggles, right? So like he said, organic is the best way when it comes to all of this stuff.
Very true. Very true. Yorkie, do you remember what the oddest one that was that you may have played with?
Oddest goal song?
No, sorry. Post-game player of the game.
Oh, we didn't really do a lot of those when we were playing. Like, we just couldn't wait to get out of there and get to the bar. Like the trick.
Fair enough.
Well, Yorkie, you got to remember back to junior, the brute kit that you got for first star, and it had the green roll on that. First of all, not only burned your armpits, but all your shirts were green too. Some of the worst aftershave of all time at the same time.
Yeah, the biggest thing we were worried about, because when I played, we had player segment bonuses. And everybody was a part of them, which is you'd get some cash. They actually give you cash
5 games.
You got 6 out of 10 points. So we did it in Ottawa, we did it in Nashville. I remember our trainers in Ottawa and our massage therapist Brad Joyelle, who was a great guy. Rest in peace, Brad. He used to come out and get the boys fired up. Boys, it's a segment game. We got cash, and he'd be dancing around in the dressing room. We got to win this one, boys. Get everybody fired up for the money. So I remember those kind of things were lots of fun when the trainers would get involved, or your massage guy, or somebody would come running in the room before a game that wasn't playing with no clothes on, streaking through the dressing room, just getting everybody just that timing, right?
Yep. A lot more entertainment back then because there was no social media, Yorkie. That's what one of the big things was. That changed everything. All right, let's get to the game, shall we? A little 8-7 overtime win, I guess. I don't even know how to describe it, because it was, and I don't know, like, we just sat there and watched. You didn't know what you were watching, though, right?
No.
It is 1 goal shy of tying the franchise record for most goals combined in a game, which is against the Washington Capitals back in 2001. Can't blame Yorkie because he was gone right before that season started. It came actually on November the 13th, I think, in 2001. They won 11-6, by the way.
Wow.
Sorry, 11-5. I think it is. Yeah. Anyway, let's get your thoughts. Simmer, what do you think of that game last night?
You know what? The afternoon, it was just so many flashbacks of last year, and that's the difficult part. I was really pumped up for Saturday night, and I'm kind of like, what the hell's going on? And as is always the case, you get it wrapped up, and here we are 3 games in, and as you say, it's been a roller coaster. The game yesterday just had to take a step back and realize, hey, the goaltending and the coach was being very kind and saying just average. That was terrible. I mean, everything.
But what he can't say anything.
No, he can't, Wally. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, though, that's what made it feel like last year. Then you take a step back and realize, okay, first of all, nice that the players continued along. It's so demoralizing where some of them must have had PTSD on watching some of it, Yorkie, where they're like, oh my God, here we go again. You know what I mean? But they stuck with it. And man, the LA Kings are a hot mess. So that to me was a positive. But there were a lot of good things in the game. But both goaltenders just really, really struggled. And that's the only reason it was an 8-7 game, because Ottawa was clearly the better hockey team.
Yeah, for everybody that's all over for the Ottawa Senators goalies who weren't good, Kemper was just, my God, was he bad. Like, okay, we can say all we want about there was a knuckle puck and there was a hard shot. That was from the blue line on a bad angle. that can't go in on an NHL goaltender. This guy won the Stanley Cup in Colorado too, Darcy Kemper. just like it was. I find the beginning to NHL seasons, it's very tricky to judge and evaluate. And Simmer made a good point. I saw it yesterday on X. He said, you know what, give it 10 games because everybody's jumping and trying to evaluate what's going on. First thing off, beginning of the season, the refs are horrible. If you go across the NHL and look what's being called, like there was look at the penalty shot in the Montreal game. Like, my God, like not a penalty shot. And
I don't understand that one.
There's so many soft calls that go on in the beginning of the season, and it just makes me scratch my head. It's like hockey's such a great game. The NHL wants fans. Why are they allowing the referees to call all these ticky-tacky penalties every single game, and you get 6 or 7 power plays? It's not hockey. And it's like watching that Jets game last night. I don't know if you guys watched that last night.
Oh,
the Jets Bills game
got sacked.
Like a perfect football game hijacked by the officials. Like it's just let the guys play. And it's like, to me, no flow, bad goaltending. The only thing good about it was the power plays were really good. Like the guys were humming on the power play. But Norris, nice to see that. I thought Batherson made some nice plays. Stutzla, offensively, there was still some miscues, but all in all, I didn't think the Sens were that bad. And again, to Simmer's point he made, it's so tough to really evaluate a game like that because no one's in the flow of the game. Guys could be sitting on the bench for a 10-minute period of time. I'm amazed that McEwen got 2 goals in a fight in 5 minutes ice time. Like, that's pretty good. So, anyways, good thing is they got the win, because if you lose that game, it's just a whole different feeling right now, Simmer. Like, how demoralizing would it have been to lose that game?
Oh, it would have been terrible. And I almost felt like, again, just because of the feel around Forsberg, and then when Sogard came in, guys, I was really praying. There were a couple of sequences right at the end of the hockey, or the end of the third period, guys, where I'm like, just get to overtime. You know what I mean? Almost thankful. And back to Kemper. First of all, the LA Kings under Todd McClellan were so structured and so good. That was just a downright gong show. And as far as Darcy Kemper, think of the swing of assets, guys, when things happen in the National Hockey League. They gave up a number of assets to bring in Pierre-Luc Dubois. Now you want to get out from underneath that contract. What do? You take on a goaltender who's no good, that you're going nowhere with, and think of what they've lost in that. And all of a sudden you start to look at that LA team that people were really, really thinking, wow, look at the prospect pool and how good this team's going to be. After Brant Clark and after Byfield, you're really hard-pressed to find any really bright future for that team, and not to mention with Doughty out. I mean, that's the same as taking Sanderson out of the Ottawa lineup.
Yeah, I'm taking a take back on my playoff prediction on that team, by the way. they ain't getting
3 games in and you're panicking.
No, I look at their decor without Doughty, and they're young, they're soft, they can't play in their own zone. Like, and I know I'm a value of that game, but that's not a good decor. And like, I like Kopitar. Fiala's a nice player, but then it gets awfully thin in a hurry on that team. Like, it's they ain't making the playoffs. Book it.
Okay, settled. Come on, it's 3 games. They could have easily won that game, and they'd be 2-0-1.
Oh, they just the timing of some of the the call on Tkachuk in front of the net. Like, you didn't. I can't stand the officiating this time of year. It's so and I know it's early for them too, but they destroy hockey games.
Yeah. Well, the NFL has that problem, and I didn't want to put anything on Twitter to get anything fired up, but
that's shocking.
I know. I'm in good behavior so far this year. DJ Smith having to watch that. I don't care. Every fan in the building was thinking, okay, I think we see that. How often did the LA Kings players end up with 4 or 5 guys on the strong side pressure and the slot just absolutely wide open, including Thomas Chabot? And if you watch Chabot, it's a great feed. It's a great read. He doesn't even make that much of a move, guys. And Kemper is just completely out to lunch. The Drew goal, and also from an Ottawa perspective, they end up winning the calls as far as the replays. That swing for the LA Kings to challenge that goalie interference and ends up being a good call on the Ottawa side. That's a big part of a hockey game.
Why did they challenge that? It was
I think nobody knows anymore, Yorkie. And I really mean that, because you're seeing stuff. But on that one there, first of all, Perron was pushed, and I don't think it had any factor. But you go across the league from the night before in Edmonton, you really have no idea. Like that's the tough part for teams right now. And for the video guy sitting back there making no money, job is on the line for a big call. You're thinking, okay, yeah, I think we're gonna be. This could be a big one. Well, no, it's a goal, and you end up going on the penalty kill.
It's just so crazy. Like, you watch the Stanley Cup Finals, and the hockey's so good. It's so good. They're not calling ticky-tacky stuff. I guess if you played hockey all like with that kind of intensity all year, and they let it go, like you'd have guys getting hurt like crazy. So yeah, make it a special teams league for the first 20 games.
I'm sorry, I'm just having a chat with Jake to see if we can do something. But let's just do charm him right into the Simmer survey if we can, because I want to bring up the question, and then we're going to lead into the goaltending, because I think we may have to discuss some of this. Listen, I don't want to rush you guys, but it's coming up to Christmas, so you're going to have to start planning a little early. Charm Diamond Centers, if you're looking for perhaps some jewelry this year, is proudly Canadian owned and operated since 1972 with more than 85 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. Get custom ring building delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece program and an unbeatable pricing policy. Check out a large selection of Canadian lab-grown diamonds, mined diamonds, and don't pay until 2025 with their instant in-store financing OAC. For more information, go to charmdiamondcenters.com. Can we do it? Can we go right to the Simmer survey? All right. Hear ye, hear ye.
That's the way to shake off the rust after a long weekend. And again, we said we wouldn't panic after 3 games, guys, but I will go into the question, or after I say the question, I'll go into a little deeper. If Ullmark is out for an extended time, what should the Sens do? 1, status quo. 2, go to the Merlion. 3, trade market. And 4, other. What do you say, Yorkie?
What's other, by the way?
Well, I don't know. It leaves it open for people come up with some crazy things on what, I even saw they said Tokarski coming back, or you know what I mean?
Tokarski.
Hey, yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. What do you think, Yorkie?
It's too early to cast Forsberg out for dead. Like, it's I think a couple of those goals were a little unfortunate. The bounce on the one, the short side was a rocket off the stick of Kempe. After one game, I'm not going to just say this guy's done. So I would go status quo. What are we talking extended time? We talking like
no? So I don't think he's out long. And I saw he was at the rink yesterday. I saw him post game. Travis Green didn't seem overly urgent. He called it a strain. Yeah. I suspect we will see him on Thursday.
The thing is, like, if you went to I wouldn't go with Merlion, because you don't. To me, it's no different. Trade market, like what are you going to get on the trade market right now? If you really look at it, if you go around the league, you're not. It's an unknown, right? It's a total unknown. So I'd go status quo for the time being.
What do you think, Wally?
So, Jake, can we go to the Anton Forsberg board for a sec? Then we'll come back to this. Okay, Yorkie. Here is, and by the way, he had an .897 save percentage in the preseason. If we rule out the preseason, fine. We can discard the evidence. It's still not very good as of right now in his last. The wins and losses are all messed up, but the 321 goals against an .890 last year is not very good. So my concern is I don't know that you have a quality backup right now, and I don't know that. Forsberg is the answer to that either. Sorry, Sogard.
I liked Forsberg better than Korpisalo last year. I just, to me, you look at those previous years. You got to remember too, the Sens were a horrendous defensive team last year too. So I'd like to see a little bit more. I want to see. I forget. I saw it out there. You might have made this point, Simmer, about the health wise. How is he doing? Is he let's just give him a little bit of time here before we just decide that he's going to be. You can't use him. It's a new. Listen, it's a new team. It's new structure. Although 8-7, it's so it doesn't look great on paper. But I'd like to see a little bit more.
Well, for sure, I know Sogaard's not the answer, and you really are entering that territory, guys, where he shouldn't be in the National Hockey League, and it's nothing to be mean about. It's just more of he has no confidence. I mean, he had zero confidence in that game. And as far as Forsberg, the only other part of that, Yorkie, we're talking about his one good season was playing for a contract on a team that wasn't going to make the playoffs. The last couple of years, the preseason play, I know it's a small sample size. All I'm saying is that I'm not even talking about Ullmark being out long term necessarily. If he's back Thursday, is that great? But I think we also have to be honest. I'm a bit nervous after him missing time in camp, and I know they're being cautious. That's okay. Already being out for a game, they need to at some point address this. And one of the better moves that Pierre Dorion made, guys, back in the day was when Craig Anderson entered into the personal situation with his wife. He went out and made the condom trade. And had he not made that, they probably wouldn't have made the playoffs. I'm just looking at this, and at some point here, yeah, depending where it goes, they may have to address it because unfortunately for Forsberg, and a lot of people point to the double knee injury. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if he's just another hamburglar. I don't know if what it is in a situation of, but the sample size has not been good enough, and they just need better goaltending. And you can't go to Sogaard and you can't go to Merlainen right now. So all I would say, Wally, is I'm not, the trade market, I'm at least keeping my eyes open, because if Ullmark at some point, something becomes more serious, you are going to have to look at trying to address this. Otherwise, you're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. If I agree with Simmer on that. If this is something more serious, 100%, because I'm Sogaard needs to play in the minors. Merlainen needs to play in the minors. So if this is something more serious, I'm 100%. But if it's like a nagging thing for a week, not so much. But anything longer, I'm 100% scouring out there what's available.
Matt also, I guess, yeah.
Matt Sogaard's a one-way deal.
Yeah, next year. The only other thing on Ullmark, Wally, is just that, hey, we're talking about a guy that we were thinking, could he play 60 games? And we're to game 3, and again, maybe they're looking at the schedule.
He's played 2 of the 3.
Oh, for sure. That's what I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, hey, they're just being cautious based on the schedule. You'll be back Thursday, you'll be fine. But after training camp and looking at Sogaard and Forsberg in there, I'm just saying is that, hey, you'd be foolish not to be thinking, hey, hopefully this is not an issue. It gets sealed up. He's back Thursday, and we never look at injury again for the goaltender.
How's what kind of start putting you on the spot here, Wally? What kind of start is Korpisalo off to in Boston? Any idea?
I just know Mark Kastelik has got 5 points, but
does he really?
Yeah, he had 3 assists yesterday, and they lost 4-3. I think he had 3 assists in the game. By the way, Cam Talbot
start was against Florida.
Okay, I was gonna say Cam Talbot is in the top 5, I think, in goals against average, so maybe top 3. Okay. Quickly, Korpisalo is got an .829 save percentage and a .619 goals against. He allowed 6 goals on 35 shots.
There you go. That's the answer I was looking for. Oh boy, one game though. It's one game.
Yes, but the Forsberg thing is a concern for me because I don't see as Ottawa having a backup at the moment, and you need somebody.
Well, he has had some stretches in the past where he's heated up and he's played pretty good. Then he got hurt when he went into the net with the hamstring or whatever he hurt there. So I'd just like to see a little more. Like, he's under contract. Instead of going out and trying to make a move, let's see. Long term, probably going to go make a trade, but short term, I'm not concerned.
I don't know what they're going to do with Sogaard next year. By the way, Sogaard and Gaudette were sent down today. I'm not sure that's not a paper transaction. It might be. No, it allows them A, to save cap money, B, they can be recalled at any time, and maybe Linus Ullmark is ready to go for Thursday. So anyway, we'll keep.
You were at the rink. Where are you sniffing around with?
I didn't skate today.
Did you catch anything before the game? Like why he was out? Like any rumors? What's going
on? No. It's just I don't know if it's the same injury from the preseason. That's what I don't know.
Wally Vision is strictly just a news reel that just runs. There's just no investigative reporting with Wally Vision.
I am not speculating on what that is at the moment.
Okay.
I believe it to be upper body. So when he said strain yesterday, I don't know if it's different than what it was.
Yeah. This is the thing early in the year, Simmer, with especially with players, probably the same with goalies. I remember early in a year, I would get groin issues. And then usually with a groin issue, and that happens to a lot of guys early in the season, you take a couple days off and it's gone. where and you probably could play, but if you play, a strain then could become a pull. A pull can then become a pop, and then you're out for 6 weeks. So I would have to think perhaps it's something like that, where it's a strain, and then you just say, this guy's going to play a lot for us this year, so let's not make the strain anything worse. And you're going to back up anyhow, so why don't you just take the night off, rehab, ice, rest, and then we don't play again till Thursday, and then you're back in.
Yeah, I think when they came out of Saturday, guys, I'm sure that was part of the thought is we are in a stretch right now where we can buy some time. We have a favorable schedule. I don't know if they had planned to maybe play Forsberg on the matinee game on a Monday. Who knows? But you look at it that way, it totally makes sense. This is where if you're going to buy a little bit of time, you've got at least a 2-1 record. You continue along for the month of October. But when November hits, boys, all bets are off. Because if Mr. Ullmark is not 100% healthy and playing just about 3 out of every 4 games, you're going to be hard pressed to make the playoffs.
A couple of things. We should have already, once Zach McEwen scored, booked the W, because with him scoring a goal in any of his pro games, the teams have a record of now 13-2. So he is money. That's all you should have known.
What made you want to fish that stat out? Yeah.
I wanted to see, because he had 2 goals when I started looking, just to see, hey, how many times he had 3 points in a game, or what about a Gordie Howe hat trick? And then as you can see the goals listed in his game by game, I'm like, he's won all these. So that's what made me look and check on that. Gotcha. Which also led me to Tim Stutzla had some good notes as well. He is now tied with Alexei Yashin for the most 3-point games for an Ottawa Senator 23 years of age or younger. Would you guys like to take a stab at how many games that is?
I'm going to say 7.
3-point nights. Stutzla's in year 5 now this year. I'm going to say...
Timmy's played 288 games.
Oh, how many of those have been 3-point nights? I'm going to go with 9.
Wow. So you guys are completely wrong. 21 games.
Wow.
Whoa. Holy.
Likes those 3-point nights.
Marian Hossa had 18, by the way. Alexei Yashin had 21 to tie him. I was shocked by that number. Anyway, the other one is he is now tied with Jason Spezza for most points by an Ottawa Senator 23 years of age or younger. Now, here's the caveat. He has 40 more games left to play, I think it is, before he turns 23. And he's 22 points behind Brady Tkachuk. I think he may become the Senators' all-time leading scorer, 23 years of age or younger. Probably even the next 10 games, by the way things are going for him.
Yeah,
he has 6 points.
Yeah, I'd say there's a pretty good chance. Now Spezza lost a year, did he not, guys, because of the lockout?
Yes, there's a lot, and he was also sent down. There's all that stuff.
Yeah.
He played 246 games. I can only go by the age.
Oh, for sure.
Well, you're trying to poo-poo it, and I'm just trying to tell you with a stat.
No, it's impressive, and I loved his game this year, guys. Like, the part of him delaying on that overtime goal, the moves that he's making with the puck distribution. He's not trying to do it all by himself anymore, and we know he can score goals. So I've been nothing impressed that. The second line started to get some chemistry. Fourth line, McEwen got a couple of goals. The next one that I think is going to break out, guys, because I think all 3 of them look good so far. But Perron, along with Pinto and Amadio. When Perron was on and he talked about it, I think for them, it's just a matter of reps, just a matter of time. And I think we're going to start to see them chip in, because even moving Greig up to that second line left wing, I like that top 9 right now. And I think we're going to start to see that third line break out to maybe as soon as tomorrow night.
Aside from Tinted Timmy, Yorkie, who has been, well, let's just say who's been the best player for the Ottawa Senators?
Jake Sanderson, in my opinion. I just think his overall game, just offensive and defensive, there's just so many facets of his game that he's good at, and that just when the other team dumps it in or he gets pressured, just his escapability, the smooth transitions, the defending, and he's playing a ton too. Like I think he was second last night, though. Shabbat was first at 29 minutes. No, I like Sanderson's overall game, what he's done. He'd be my guy.
By the way, Thomas Shabbat, I thought looked really good yesterday. I'm very impressed. I don't know if best player, I guess, is maybe the wrong term. I think Noah Gregor has been really, really solid. Like arguably one of their most consistent forwards. But
he was really key at the end of that last game on the PK. They had a rough penalty kill afternoon, but they had that key kill at the end of the game. He made a real nice play at center ice. He's just I could see why Steos went out and got him, Simmer. He's got speed. He's relentless. He's one of those guys that he's buzzing around on his shifts, and he's disturbing on the forecheck. Like he's not an overly tough, mean player, but he's got a great motor, and he brings the overall speed level of the forward group up. And they needed that on their bottom six, I thought. And I love my guy Rourke Chartier, but they were the bottom six on Ottawa didn't have enough speed, and I think Gregor brings up the speed level and the not effort, but the just the getting in and pressuring quicker than we're normally seeing with the bottom six.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it also looks like, guys, as we go to duos, again, you'd prefer to have Greig in there. He's out for a week or two. I can't imagine send down Gaudet's that he's going to be back. But with Batherson and Norris playing the way they are, I think Gregor's also worked to point in his career, guys, where he keeps it very simple. I think he realizes what he is, right? He's not out there to make fancy plays or carry the puck all over. Get in the forecheck, as you said, disrupt things, and try to set the table the best you can for Norris and Batherson. And if you're going to say best player, because I'll go with Sanderson as well, Wally, but right after that is Drake Batherson. And one of the things so far, I think he's got to clean up some things, on the defensive side. But I like the way he's starting to use his body. He's starting to use his size. He's making plays. There's confidence there. Nice to see Norris get a couple of goals. I think Drake's played some real nice hockey. Again, just 3 games in.
Key and key moments too, Simmer. Like because this is the thing when and people will get on Drake for some of the defensive things, which I agree, he's got to clean those up. But there's a handful of players in the league that when the game's on the line, let's say you're down by a game, a guy will get the puck down low and he'll spin and jam it at the net, and it plays over. Last night, when that tying goal, he comes around, he waits, and he's got the patience to wait. And then when you wait, you make the defender come at you, and they got to make a decision before you do. All of a sudden, the lane opens up, and there's Norris in the high slot. Same thing on that overtime winner, Simmer. Like, you're protecting that puck, like you said, in the middle of the ice and holding it. And the longer you hold it, and you got to have the patience, the skill, and the you got to have balls to do that play too, because if you turn that over, that's a 2-on-1 going the other way. So he's making big plays at big moments where that's the difference. Some guys can do it and some guys can't. And you like to see that.
Even on that winning goal, the play that you mentioned on Twitter, the play that Stützle made, I mean, that is high risk. It's high skill. He ends up keeping it in. The part to Batherson, because he ran the delay on that, it basically turned the LA players into a moving pick. I mean, that was just such a beautiful play. Well, once Norris went to cross over, the LA defenders were done. And, again, not a great goal. Kind of reminded me of Patrick Kane's goal to win the Stanley Cup against Philly. Like, how did that go in?
Do you think he fanned on it? Do you think he fanned on it? Do you think he was?
No, well, yeah, because when you looked at the first goal he scored, so far when I've seen him shoot the puck so far, and I'm not going to say anything to do with the shoulder guys, there's a bit of a different tempo on. He's almost sweeping the puck and kind of snapping it a little bit. So it felt like if I saw that first goal that I think it was by design, not to mention Kemper was just a hot mess. He wasn't squared up. And I think Josh saw that, and he's so intelligent. And all you had to do at that point is pretty much place the puck.
Yeah.
Silly question, because I'm going to be Joe fan for a sec. We never asked Danny Heatley to play defense, right? So are we at the point I'm trying to make is we get all worked up about Drake Batherson and say, well, he's got to do this and do that. If he puts up 75 points or whatever, does it matter?
The game's different now. You can't get away like before in the NHL. You could get away with a little bit of cheating, like cheating offensively and doing some things. And guys are just so fast now, and you can get exposed. Like, sure, like if you're having a 3-point night, like you get a little bit of leeway with the coach, but It's just like playing defense is just a mindset, and it's not hard. It's just you got to dig in, and you got to be. You just got to have more will than the guy on offense, especially smart players. It's a lot easier for smart players to be good defensively than guys who don't have a brain. So it's it's just you got the game's different now, Wally. You look at the best players in the game. Like Edmonton did not start winning and getting to finals until McDavid decided that he wasn't going to do circles in his own zones all the time and be cheating. And now he's a little more responsible, and now they're winning. That's how you got to do it.
All right. Moving on. Got a couple of things going on. You know what, Jake? Eric's been busy. I just saw this on Twitter. I would like us to now, for the worldwide debut, here. Just play it, Jake. I don't even know what to say. We're gonna get to
Who says there was no social media back in the day, York? You had no idea that they were filming.
They got me.
Hey,
love
like
that
little
song.
karaoke night. Great job, Bear.
Yorkie. I had no idea. You were that good.
Our old goal song from our winning song from Nashville Predators that brought us on for a first ever playoff appearance in Nashville in 2003.
Makes me think Ottawa should bring in Gangnam Style. That was another one that I thought was pretty good. Hey, that would be solid right there. Hey?
Good job, Eric. Good. I don't know how you find the time, but good job. Okay, finally, we got to get to. I want to ask you about the Edmonton Oilers. You just brought up Connor McDavid, so that's part of our Betway sponsor read segment thing. As this show is proudly presented by Bet365. Open an account today with Bet365 and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code DAILY365. Must be 19 years of age or older. Please play responsibly. Make sure to download the app so you can get in on all the action, which includes the Edmonton Oilers are going to play tonight, gentlemen. They're 0-3 to start the season. Are they going to get a victory tonight? By the way, the Colorado Avalanche also 0-3. They host Boston tomorrow. Are you taking tonight they play the Philadelphia Flyers, Edmonton. Are you taking the Edmonton Oilers to beat the Flyers, or are you going to take the underdog Flyers to beat the Oilers? Is the misery continue?
So where is it in Philadelphia?
It's in Edmonton, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll take the Oil. The Oil will get off the schneid tonight, get their first win of the year at home. They'll be jumping. Connor and Leon will have themselves a night. Yeah, I can't see them going forward. If they do, oh my God, Chicken Little, the sky will be falling at Edmonton if they lose.
It was falling last year. Remember, they were last in the league. Yeah, they fired the coach.
Well, they can't do that again. They love the coach now.
I know, but my point was this isn't all that unfamiliar to them compared to last year. Last year seemed a whole lot worse.
Yeah, and the negativity comes out pretty quickly, guys. I mean, this is a team that's picked to win the Stanley Cup, but when you start to go through their roster and you understand after that first pairing, Yorkie, Darnell Nurse, for whatever reason, isn't there. For whatever you think of Cody Ceci, to some of the other losses on the back end, Skinner's going to have to stand on his head. Now, I don't think Philadelphia's a very good team, so I totally am taking Edmonton, and I see where they have Mr. Draisaitl playing with McDavid and Hyman for tonight. So I will take them to win this one, but I don't think that they're nearly as deep and nearly as good as people are making them out to be. So, yeah, I think they'll end up winning tonight. And as far as the Colorado Avalanche, you want to talk about bad goaltending. Mr. Georgiev has been just absolutely god-awful. That's the one where you get nervous. And then also when you start to go through the war of attrition, when the roster in Colorado, guys, it's not the same roster that won the Stanley Cup a few years ago. So without some real good goaltending, they are in some serious trouble.
Quickly, so are you taking the Oilers or are you taking the Flyers tonight?
I'm taking the Oilers.
Okay.
Yep. Me too.
See, I'm going to take I think the Flyers can possibly pull that one off, but we'll see. So I need to get some clarification, gentlemen. In the last show, Yorkie wasn't available when we picked for the LA game, Simmer, as you recall. You and I both took the Ottawa Senators. And no, sorry, the Montreal game. And we both said Ottawa. And then I said, Yorkie, we're going to give him Montreal. Well, I texted Yorkie and said, we gave you Montreal. And he said, I'm taking the Sens. So now I'm not sure.
You gave him the Montreal the night before you picked Ottawa. You picked Florida. Now we're switching. We've got LA.
I had Ottawa. I was Ottawa for the LA game too. I wasn't taking the Kings there.
Well, we didn't pick for the LA game. I need to sort out the Montreal thing. You said you were taking the Sens, but we in the show had given you Montreal, and now I don't know.
If you gave me Montreal, you got to keep it that way.
That's the only live recording we have of the actual move.
But I have the text message that says I'm taking the Sens.
Okay. Too late. Okay. Too late. You tried to sewer me with the Habs, and it backfired on you. That's on you.
Damn it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hey, no more. I'm not going to. You got to get your pick in, or you just automatically default to the loser.
That's right. You can pick again and try and sewer me. That's the rules. If I don't get my pick in, if I don't get my pick in time, you can pick for me.
Okay.
That's the rules, and then your pick counts.
Okay. I think you should just get the loser pick. If you can't get us the pick in time, you just get whoever loses the game.
No, it's mob rules. It's like when we do our fantasy football draft. If a guy doesn't show up for draft night, the mob gets to pick his team and they decide his fate.
Okay. Well, people think there should be an asterisk now on your record for the season.
You were laughing during the show. I saw you. We're going to give you RK Montreal.
There's no chance you watched the show. We'll be back tomorrow before we pick the New Jersey game. So that way we'll
go to that game
quickly. Oh, great. It should be a good game. Travis Green did say Ridley Greig out 1 to 2 weeks. He didn't elaborate on what it was. And we don't know about Artem Zub just yet, who was clearly, I'll say, run over by Tanner Ginoli yesterday in a hit that's clean. Well, everybody seems to think it's clean. You could find people on Twitter to argue it, but even Zach McEwen made the comment, hey, it was a clean hit, but I appreciate him standing up and letting me beat him up, I guess, for the clean hit. But that's a concern. Well, I think Zub has now had, if it is a concussion, he's now, I think that's his third.
Well, he had the one with the Ovechkin shot a year ago. That is. And he put himself in a tough spot. Here's the only thing I would question, guys. And I think the fault, unfortunately, is on the player. Hate to see it happen. But when I go back to Ryvon Eller, I don't understand. And if I keep hearing that if the principal point of contact is the head, well, that's all that was. That's where I have a hard time. But in normal old school hockey, hey, like I said, Zub should have not put himself in that vulnerable situation, Yorkie. But like I said, that was a headshot all the way along. I just can't say it was a dirty play.
Yeah, it was really tough because he gets the D to D and he looks up and Jeannot's just right there. And the worst guy of all on the ice because he's their biggest, strongest, meanest guy. I just go back to, and I don't want to blame Zub. I just find today's player is very unaware of who they're on the ice against. You got to know which guys can blow you up, which guys can hurt you, and always know. It's like the old days. I always bring this name up all the time. You always had to know when Brian Marchman was on the ice. And there's always, every team has like a neutron bomb. Like if I'm playing against Ottawa, I want to know when Brady Tkachuk's on the ice because I know he can get me and he can hurt me. So,
if that's Chris Neal, we're not saying it's a dirty hit.
No, that's Nealer's made way harder hits than that and not get penalized for. It's hockey.
It's unfortunate.
Sometimes bad stuff happens, and but to Simmer's point, I've seen guys get suspended for less. It's just like we said. I don't know what's a penalty now or what isn't, or it's just the beginning of the year.
I didn't mean to get you started on the
beginning of the year is just nuts. Like it's nuts. Yeah. It's like spin a wheel and wherever it lands.
Yeah, also opens up an opportunity for JBD guys. I mean, hey, he had a real good training camp. I think the way that they were slotted healthy, I think with the way people are on, I mean, it's obviously either Shabbat or Hamonic. People are all over. But I think as a group now, a little bit better. I think D-zone coverage, a little bit better on some of the stick stuff. But I think as individuals, and I'm kind of excited to see JBD go in. Not that he's going to replace Zub, but I still look at that and say, okay, 1 through 6 with some good goaltending, that can be a very capable group.
I wonder who. So, what do you guys? What's the predictions, fellas? Who will play with Sanderson?
I think it'll be Hamonic just because they have a past, and I think you want to keep Jensen and Shabbat together. And I think Clevin and JBD, a little chemistry from the old UND days. So that would be my pairings. What about you guys?
Yeah. The history of Sanderson and Hamonic, they're familiar. I'd do the same.
But I also think that it ends up going to be Jake Sanderson, who I'm pretty sure I watched him play on his offside yesterday. Will just rotate through, right? You'll see.
Clevin was on the right side a little bit as well.
Yeah, and so I don't know if it's at the end of a power play. I just remember seeing him briefly. You may just see an awful lot of Jensen, Shabbat, and Sanderson rotate through that lineup.
Well, they'll have last change. So depending on matchups, if they don't like Clevin and Docker together on a defensive zone draw versus the other team, they'll send, hey, Jensen, go out and take Bernard Docker, play this shift with Clevin, and they'll manipulate it. That's how last change. You got the benefit of doing that.
Yep. And Jake Sanderson will play 57 minutes and 29 seconds.
And be fine doing it.
Yeah, he'll be fine. All right, gentlemen, let's do it all again tomorrow, 4 p.m. Thank you. And Eric, nice job on.
Beautiful, Eric. I love it.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Cheers, Ottawa. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to Coming In Hot. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.